Hello all, welcome to study 89 of the Solving Studies to Improve Chess Calculation series. This study comes from the very strong grandmaster in chess composition, Steffen Nielsen. He is a Danish chess composer, also a journalist, and he reached the peak of chess composition when he won the world champion of chess composition in endgame studies in 2019 and 2021. So he's very strong. His compositions are really, really tactical, really interesting. And let's go for this one. Okay, here it's white to win. And as always, I suggest you watch the guide before going for the practice if you haven't. And then the countdown will start, and I catch you again with the solution after the countdown. And we are back, and the correct first move is to advance the pawn a7 exclamation mark. Okay, to understand this, we need to also understand the position. And of course, at first sight, we see, okay, it's white to win. We have a rook, we have a bishop, we have 3 pawns against 3 pawns. This must be easy. But after a while, we see, okay, black has 2 connected passed pawns. So we are going to have to deal with them with just the rook because our bishop is currently blocked with our king. So we kind of start to stress out about will I have tempi for that? Will I have enough time to come with perfect defensive possibilities? Well, no. Because let's see, for example, if I go over here, well, black just simply advanced 1 pawn. Of course, we can try to compensate, but it's not enough because black accepts and promotes to the queen. And now over here, black just delivers perpetual checks, and this is simply a draw. So we can't move the king away. So the other idea that comes to mind is, okay, we sacrifice the pawn. So we decoy the king to an open file, okay? Notice that black needs to accept because otherwise we are going to promote to a queen first and then deliver a checkmate, which is not good for black, of course. So over here, the king needs to accept the sacrifice. And the new idea is, okay, I will come with my rook, and this will allow me time to bring my pieces. Let's see that in action. This is not the correct move, but let's see it. And now the king comes to b6. Okay, now I remove my king. The pawn attacks the rook, so now I need to do something. Let's say I sacrifice the rook. This is an interesting maneuver on this endgame study. And the king accepts the rook, and now I bring the bishop, and seems like, okay, this is cool, because now I am controlling both pawns. Yes, we are controlling both pawns, but the problem is we are going also to lose our 2 pawns. Let's say, for example, the king comes attacking the b4 and the c6 pawn. Now we can approach our king. Let's say, for example, we go to e3. The king takes 1 pawn, and now the bishop is forced to come to defense. Otherwise, the king can approach and then force the promotion. And when this happens, the king goes attacking the other one. So I need to protect it. And now black just sacrificed 1 pawn. The bishop needs to take back. And now, as we know, king and bishop alone can't checkmate black. So this is going to be a draw. So over here, we can't check. So we need to find another way. And the other way is now we move the king away. And of course, let's see what happens if I advance the pawn. If I advance the pawn, well, this is going to be really similar. We check the king. Now, of course, if the king goes to b8, well, we just control the pawn, so we are able to sacrifice for this one. If the other one comes, well, I can even sacrifice my rook over here. Let's say, for example, if black plays over this, I can simply sacrifice the rook. The king takes the rook, and now I have time, as you can see now, I have time to bring my king, and on the end, now I protect the pawn. The king attacks the other one, no problem. I come with the king to control the promotion of the p-pawn, and the king takes one, but I am now controlling the other one. If the king comes to a3, well, I simply control it, and now the king comes back. And of course, now it's different because I have one extra pawn that it's going to be needed for the win. So over here, of course, the king don't go to b8, comes to b6. And now, of course, I need to bring the bishop. I can't do it in another way. So here, the idea is I'm threatening to take, and when black takes again, I can reach the pawn, and then, of course, with a rook and a king, it's easy. But black is going to make things harder. And over here, we have to make a decision. Why? Because normally we saw the team many times. We sacrifice the rook. This is how it's called. It's pro-cash maneuver from the Czechoslovakian chess composer. The pro-cash maneuver is basically we sacrifice our rook so we win some compensation. Here, the compensation is to be able to recover the 2 passed pawns, so not allowing them to promote. And over here, we maybe are tempting to go over this. But this is not enough. Why? Because the rook will be taken, of course. Now I take 1 pawn, but again the king comes and can control the other 2 pawns. Notice what happens. I can, for example, bring my king, but the king just takes one. Now I try to control and to remain with the b pawn, that it's not going to be necessary to win. The king attacks the pawn and I protect the pawn. But now black has this simple idea. Just play c5. So if the pawns exchange, well, this is going to be a draw because white will will remain just with the bishop. So the bishop comes with check. Okay, we are threatening again to take the pawn. So we need to advance ours, b5. But now the same idea. We sacrifice the pawn with the promotion, the bishop takes and we take, and this is a draw. So over here, okay, if I don't have this, how I can win this one? Well, there's another pro-cash sacrifice, the rook sacrifice, that is incredible. So the rook is really on fire and it finds another brilliant way to win. Why? Because if here we promote to a queen, like for example over here, well, black is going to be surprised with a checkmate. Yes, not cool for black. But of course, it's not possible again. So here the king is forced to accept the sacrifice. And now, of course, we are also forced to take the pawn. And the difference between this position and the sacrifice in a6 is that now the king won't be able to go to b5 in just one move like before, double threatening both pawns. So here the king attacks one, so I protect it. Now maybe what happens over here? Well, if I promote sacrificing, well, the king takes 1 pawn, but I will be able, as you can see, I will be able to control the other one, to save the other one. Now I bring my king, and when the pawn advances, now I am able to also keep my pawn, which is, of course, the difference. And after a while, I will win the other one and finish the game with a win. Notice that on all the study, we are just finding ways to sacrifice our rook to save the game from the two passive protected pawns and winning it. So this is the pro cash maneuver, a very interesting one, and hope you also have enjoyed it. And as always, I see you in future studies. Bye bye.